telling this, but I perioded all over I was wearing like gray sweatpants, and I'm like wiping off like this like
on a PJ.
I guess probably like $100 million. I don't know how much PJs cost to rent. They're so expensive, but I think to own. I'm like wiping it off. I'm like, hope this isn't P Diddy's. Or if it's P Diddy's, at least he's used to having blood. I'm like,
I took a period Diddy is all I heard when you said that.
I'm like, hope this isn't P Diddy.
That's what the P stands for.
Actually, yeah, P Diddy is what I call my period. P Diddy's at least used to have like
I took a period Diddy.
Man upstairs is responsible for criminally and illegally ending the preceding live stream once again, following the female federal felons of the domestic terrorist organization and their unlawful directives again, implicating himself in serious prison time, which he will face as a result of following her ongoing unlawful and criminal directives within their domestic terrorist organization. Current time is 12:26 p.m. PST.
Her sister had spider tassels. She did 2 dances, but she does a lot of like she'll do a song by Halloween with the mask, Michael Myers.
Are we still connected at 12:26 p.m. because they're already upstairs actively trying to criminally and illegally shut it off?
Okay, we have a 10-second delay.
Are we still connected at 12:26 p.m. because they're already upstairs actively trying to criminally and illegally shut it off? The men who keep following the women's instructions who are going to prison for the rest of their lives, that's whose unlawful directives they're following. From the domestic terrorist organization, the child abusing, kidnapping, stalking, hostage holding North Everett precinct of stalkers and fraudsters, the already labeled domestic terrorist organization.
It just took me so long.
From Harvard?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was crazy.
NDCYF,
reading
domestic terrorist.
I'm a doctor of books. I told people I was a libertarian. As I think politically I'm a libertarian. It was crazy.
NDCYF. You're going to prison for the rest of your lives.
Don't you know that about me? I love to read.
I didn't know that.
I'm joking.
Okay, I was like, you're joking, but I don't want to be rude.
I've ever done in my life is try to read a book. I'm just
I didn't want to be rude. I'm like, you don't read.
You're like, you don't know how to read.
Nerd.
You know, that's so cool. I have the same dynamic with my best friend from college. It's her best friend from growing up. The three of us are a crew.
That's awesome.
Tara and Ayala.
And you guys met. Where have you guys meet?
I met my friend in college, my friend Tara, and then her best friend growing up was Ayala, and we all met at her, maybe right before her wedding, like her bachelor party. And we just have all, and then Ayala lives near me.
That's nice.
And
I wish they would come move over here with me.
I know.
It's expensive.
Now, okay, so this is what I was thinking when you were saying that. Did you have, because I know with Tara, when we like had our first bond, we kind of just had one of those hangs where one of us went over to the other person's dorm room and we just stayed up for just hours. Just telling each other all of our what?
What a good
wish.
producer.
Here, I have a wish. Make some money. Make a little money, Todd.
Hundos.
Todd, make $1 million too. I want to have a sugar daddy. I feel like Todd's getting into a sugar daddy era. Because my sugar daddy bled all over my sugar daddy's jet. I don't know how long I can keep him.
That's so crazy.
I didn't tell them I did it. Tim has no clue that happened.
I bled in my friend's car, and then I just didn't say anything. I was so embarrassed, and next time I saw her, she had a new car. I'm not kidding.
You perioded a car out. You outfitted it. You spread your seeds.
It was a leather seat, so I was like I was concerned about it, and I should have cleaned it up, but I was just like, I'm just going to get out of here and hope they'll not notice. But it was embarrassing.
The amount of times I've bled on people's things that you can't clean, like couches.
One of the men upstairs is on the phone with one of his fellow domestic terrorists. Everybody is still upstairs actively seeking how to terminate this live stream again. Your domestic terrorist organization. Remember, guys, say the quote with me from the FBI. Quote, there will be an exodus at the North Everett precinct. I can guarantee you that exodus involves each and every one of you that have actively terminated these live streams just in the last 2 hours.
She did not.
You can count on that.
My vibe.
And you can't front on that.
She was supposed to be helping me write basically
It's 12:30 p.m. PST. Make sure
So
you
it
go
was
to
very weird, always makes sense.
facebook.com/Mystic Gwen
So
Loves
it's like
Only
things
You
like I'm
because
confused.
the domestic terrorist
The reason I was
organization
late, I had a call. I was like, hey, it's my
upstairs
boyfriend. Like,
is
I was
still
supposed to
actively
be
attempting to
the
criminally and
lawyer.
illegally shut off this live stream, and it is imperative that you read the police report / addendum of today, February 13th, 2025 at 3 a.m. available on facebook.com/Mystic Gwen Loves Only You. facebook.com/Mystic Gwen Loves Only You. Also, a portion of it regarding this not being in any way, shape, or form an operation, but 100% the criminal enterprise and domestic terrorist organization that its actions have legally made it
all over the like rental, and they're like
is in the description, as well as the ongoing cyber attacks by the multiple women upstairs that didn't blow the whistle, who are going to prison for the rest of their lives, and various officers that keep coming from the North Everett precinct and DCYF to help them to perpetrate more felonies without abatement. So again, go to facebook.com/Mystic Gwen Loves Only You, or if it's still accessible, I don't know because they're preventing me from looking. If it's still accessible, the live stream this morning that began at 4:32 a.m., I read aloud that police report in that addendum, which is legally required to be filed in any and all cases. It was sent to the clerks, it was sent to the precinct, it was sent to everyone within the domestic terrorist organization, i.e. aggravated criminal conspiracy.
Really get into it. It's like mattresses when you
The only exception being my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser. There's also additional updates in the description because, as is their pattern of conduct, they've done nothing but perpetrate more and more crimes since that 3 a.m. police report.
Are you bleeding right now?
I am.
If this live stream ends for any reason without me orally telling you the end time, I ended the domestic terrorist organization of Unit 207, the North Everett precinct, DCYF, prosecutors at all are 100% responsible.
I had to have been like 7 or 8.
Yeah, so
Second or third
excited.
grade.
Nervous, probably.
So nervous, so excited. Out of like 10 to 15 kids, I was the only kid who didn't bring a toothbrush. And the mom was like, "This is crazy.
Like, my parents are wicked. Leave me alone."
My dad's wicked. I don't see him much. My mom dropped me off in between jobs, and so she like made me brush my teeth with my finger, and then I remember on the sleeping bag, I like in the middle of the night, I already had a bedwetting problem, and so I was like, shit.
So you kind of were nervous about it already, but you were like, I got it.
And then I had it.
Yeah.
And we were in the bag. I did have it in the bag in the middle of the night, literally. And then I just
it was like so you kind of were nervous about it. It looked like one of those bags that drains into people's IVs, but it's just your piss and you're inside it.
Yeah, literally. And
swimming inside it.
Everyone's still sleeping, and I like sneak. I pretend to be asleep forever as like everyone slowly wakes up. And finally, I go into my friend's room and I changed. I don't know if I got like she gave me clothes or I changed, but I like hid my wet urine underwear under her dresser. And I wonder when she found them.
I remember hooking up with this guy when I was in Germany when I was 15. This German guy, and I pulled my tampon out and I threw it out his window. But he lived on the first floor, so I was just like in his brush. I was like, I don't know what to do. He didn't have like I don't know. These Germans are weird. They didn't have toilets. They didn't have trash cans near the toilet.
Did you do it just in front of him?
No, I just didn't know what to do with it.
Oh, I thought it was like a move where you're like, let's.
I was like this.
Throw it out.
Did
you do it just in front like a slingshot?
They are. Tampons are fun.
Yeah, you remind me of Bart Simpson a little bit. Yeah, Bart Simpson had a period.
I'm like Bart with a pee stain. I never peed the sleeping bag, but I definitely pissed myself at school twice in one day. 5th grade.
Twice in one day?
Could not stop. My friend was making me laugh so hard that day. I kept peeing myself, and I was too. And you know what it is? It's the shame and not telling people. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
But it's so normal. You don't want to. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I had so much shame growing up.
But then you're like worried about people finding.
Yeah, I peed myself in class, and you could just feel the chair like filling up with liquid.
Were you laughing? Or you
no,
just
I was mortified. I just couldn't control my bladder.
Right.
It was not even like triggered by anything. Just a weak urethra, I guess. But I raised my hand, and the teacher was like, if you have a question, you have to come up to me.
No.
And I was like,
Please don't do this.
She's like, if you have something to say in front of everybody. And I was like, oh my God.
Like, I don't even know if I have to speak. My pants might speak for themselves.
Yeah, and I got up in front of everyone, and she knew immediately, and then wrote me a note to the nurse that said, like, she beat her pants.
How old were you?
This same
okay.
elementary school. Like,
I don't know why I was imagining you in like middle school.
middle school.
It's like you don't have extra clothes when you're in middle school.
No, I mean, I think I stopped this problem around 8.
Did you figure out what it was?
Well, my dad was dating this lady who they never got married, and she was the worst. But out of all the bad stuff she did, one day she sat me down and was like, maybe you're dreaming about going to the bathroom. Most of the time it happened in my sleep. She's like, maybe you're dreaming about going to the bathroom and you could like stop yourself and wake up. And it worked.
She was like, I'm so sick of putting a tarp on this kid's bed.
Yeah.
I'm so sick.
It was a big inconvenience for her.
I can't even imagine like stepmoms, and I just never had that. So it must be so weird when this person that's not your person comes in and is kind of an authority figure.
Yeah, because you're a kid.
Yeah.
You have to listen to them, but she would make me like rub her feet.
That's so gross. I had a grandmother that did that.
Really?
And we weren't close. Like we barely knew her. She married she was a step grandmother.
They're always the step one.
And then she ended up pushing my grandmother in the bush. My 8-year-old, they had like a violent
wait, into a bush or in the bush?
Into a bush. She was like having these cuts and prickers on them.
She pushed her vagina.
She shot him out. She rebirthed him. Randy,
I moved him and he's around.
Just chill. You have everything you need. You have the love of your life is here. Guys, he smells as bad as he looks. Okay, so I want to tell you, you can kind of see there's like a pinkness around his belly. It might have worn off.
Let's see.
So I'm walking Randy the other morning. Todd's still asleep. I look at his mouth. Red all over his mouth. Red all over his stomach. I'm like, he's fucking bleeding.
Oh no.
I'm going, he's not acting upset. He's not acting hurt. I'm going, what is happening? I take him back inside. I wake Todd. I'm like, sorry, Todd, you got to get the fuck up. I don't know how to deal with this. And then we're like, there's no cut. And then I'm like, it's kind of purplish. And I realize I have been using this lip liner. It's like a lip stain. And ew, that is so bad. Guys, we're moving. We're leaving this world behind. Okay. So you put it on. And then it dries. And you peel it off. And it's going to take a second to dry. Randy. So I have these peel things. I put them on I have a little trash bag next to my mirror. I must have missed it. I do. It's a brown paper bag, you scumbag. You scum piece of shit. Guys, I'm single if you're looking. And I'm a real easy ride. I don't give you any trouble. It's not hard to date me at all. Randy. Oh, he's touching the mic. And look at his nasty face. Randy, you're going in a tub tonight.
Randy, he's such a little freak.
He is a freak. And so you peel these off. And by the way, there is a brown trash bag near my mirror. Todd doesn't know he doesn't go in my corner.
Yeah,
unless I demand he clean that area for me. But I guess it fluttered down, and then Randy licked it, and then he licked his penis, and that's what it was. This is very cute.
Oh,
Randy.
You wanted to wear makeup.
Oh, who's a good boy? So you were saying you don't really like to do road trips by yourself?
No, I like them. I guess sometimes it's nice to get out on the road, but I travel so much now by myself. It's more fun. Like when I picked up Katie in Phoenix, and then we went from Phoenix to Bisbee. That part was fun.
How far is it from Phoenix?
4 hours.
Oh, that's a fun amount of time with your friend.
Yeah.
Did you guys listen to music or podcasts?
We talked the whole time. Yeah, we only have those 2 days together, so it's kind of like every second counts. When you get older, so we see each other less. So we didn't really.
Damn, you are 40.
Yeah.
When you get older, the clock starts ticking down.
Well, we used to just get drunk and do drugs and party all night. And I worked at a coffee shop. I was doing mics, but I had so little to do.
Who did you wait on? Was it Dimitri Martin?
Yeah, Dimitri Martin was like the first famous person I saw. But I would watch him on YouTube when I was in high school.
I mean, goddamn, his show was so funny.
And then I did a show with him. It might have been Annie Wood.
I think it
With the
was, yeah.
sword. Yeah. So that was a cool moment for my younger self.
I did bring Dimitri.
Yeah.
I met him at the reptile show and I went batting.
You're doing mine and Joel's show. This comes out
Yes.
Thursday?
Yeah.
I do have to plug that.
And then it's on the 18th, right?
The 19th.
Wednesday. Oh, the
Wednesday.
19th, I mean, yeah. And then Annie Wood and Friends is the 18th.
That'll be a good week.
I have 100 podcasts before the show, too. I'm having one of those days with 100 podcasts. Do you ever do a 100 podcast day?
No.
Where there's only, well, just like 27 people ask you to do their podcast on the same day, and you're like, I guess I could squeeze them all in. It's just 2 podcasts, but.
It feels like a lot. I always forget how much work. They're not like, this one doesn't feel that bad, but especially when you go on one where you never met the person, and it's just like, you feel like, oh, I'm just going to go hang out. But then you're like, oh, no, I do have to use my brain.
Or, yeah, if you just don't vibe with the person, you're like trying to find the thing.
Yeah.
Like, do I have a thing with you or not? I did Randy, Charlotte McKinney, and John Lovett. Randy, you just find a new way to be annoying. That's good boy. Hi, please.
Oh, yeah, you did John Lovett's podcast.
It was really fun.
He's digging a hole.
It was 3 of us have ADD. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I was late, or I wasn't late, and I went, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not late. She's like, oh my God, that's what I was thinking. I can't believe I'm not late. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And then we went in, and John's like, I have ADD too. I'm late to everything. And we're just like, we're talking about how when people are late, we're so happy. We're like, oh. And when you text me, you're like, it's going to be longer. I'm like, oh.
I know, that's nice.
I always feel good about it. I know, I feel bad holding people.
I have so much anxiety about time.
Would you like sit in a car waiting, get there early to things?
I'm always early, even if I try to be late.
Yeah.
I can't not be on time. Like, obviously things happen where I have been late before, but most of the time, if I'm going to meet somebody who's notoriously late, I'll try to get there late, and I can't.
Yeah.
I still end up 2 minutes early.
Yeah, that's so funny. No, I always end up at least 2 minutes late, where I'm like, I could leave with so much time. I'm like, I don't know how this happened to me.
Yeah.
Or I'll wake up 5 hours earlier than the thing, start getting ready like 6 hours before and I'm like, how did I? It's like crazy what my brain can do.
I was in a lot of leadership stuff in school, so like marching band and all that stuff, and I had to go to leadership seminars, and they would.
I know everyone's like, being on time is the most important thing. It shows your word, and I'm like, guys.
That's how I was brought up. But now when I moved to LA, nobody's like that here. Like the first time I picked somebody up, I think it was Brian Simpson. I picked him up to take him to San Diego.
And you had to wait in the car for him?
Well, he was just like, what do you mean you're here? And because it was like, pick me up at 4, and I got there at 4, and he's like, what do you mean you're here? And
that is hilarious.
Like,
and he's so slow talking too. Like, we just lost an hour with you just saying, what do you mean?
Yeah, you just couldn't believe I was on time. He's like, no one is on time here.
And he wasn't expecting it, or he was ready?
No, he was not ready.
Because I was wondering, because he was military,
waiting.
so I wonder if he's on time because of.
I think he would have been ready, but he just wasn't expecting me to be ready. So my mom was working so much that we just kind of learned to take care of ourselves.
Right.
I think I'm trying to think of why.
I'm just seeing you like climb, like pushing a chair over and climbing up and finding like a can and learning how to open a can.
I climbed everything. I never thought of that before, but yeah, I climbed a lot.
Yeah, when you don't have an adult to lift you up, you just have to learn to climb.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that as an option of getting lifted up.
Somebody's DM'd or commented on, I think my podcast last week, but she said the coolest thing. She goes, instead of worrying about healing your inner child, learn how to heal your inner teenager.
Oh, yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because my inner child was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I've worked on that. It's like your inner teenager where your parents, where you have to pull apart from them, and
oh yeah, total.
And everyone's and you're a nightmare and you're ugly of zits.
Yep.
I don't
want
hairstyles. You were cute. You're ugly now.
Yeah.
And you suck. You're talking shit.
Yeah, getting involved with bad friends.
Oh, the worst friends.
Yeah,
getting involved with bad friends. Oh,
You had the worst.
I should be dead. I should be dead.
Were you the bad friend, or did you have a bad friend?
I was only bad leaning because it was the more accepting group.
Yeah.
For my problems.
I don't know why I could see somebody hanging out with, like, if we hung out in high school, I could see my mom being like, I don't want you hanging out with that Annie.
Oh, no, but that would happen to me a lot. But I would like not be the one. I'm like, I'm not the one.
Yeah.
I'm always like, you're the bad one. And I was a scapegoat because I dressed like slutty and juvenile delinquency. So people in the neighborhood would be like, it was her. I'm like, you gave me the cigarettes. You found cigarettes and gave them to me. I didn't put no cigarettes. You blame the smoking on me? But I get it. I wore lip liner. Randall.
That was like that.
I didn't get to talk about what?
Did we explain why you guys are dressed in
Oh,
pajamas?
because it's nighttime, so we dressed in our jammies.
Yeah, we're having a pajama party. I brought face masks and.
Oh,
You want
Fire
to
'em in
try?
there.
I love it. Should we put under eye ones on? That's so, you're so much.
Happy.
How fitting for Valentine's Day that this ad has come back into my life, because this is one of the biggest loves of my life. One of my number one favorite things, and it's life-changing. And I'm talking about Lumi. It's just my favorite deodorant. It's a whole body deodorant. You can put it in your cookie, you can put it in your back crack, you can put it in your pits, under your tits, and you can put it anywhere, your face, your head, your scalp. The toasted coconut's so good. It just really life-changing. So good. And it's a whole body deodorant, and it controls the BO for up to 72 hours. You can choose, there's lots of flavors. They have the lavender sage, clean tangerine, but guys, it's toasted coconut. It's toast. How do you even make something smell like this? The woman that started this is a queen. She's incredible. I'm just such a fan of Lumi, and I really actually miss them. And so for them to be back is making me feel very romantic. Let's just say you want the smell in your armpits to be a secret admirer, not a stinky mess. Check out Lumi's solid deodorant stick, sweat control deodorant. I got to get that one. Or their spray deodorant that's ideal for those hard to reach places. Hard to reach. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, green tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for Anniewood listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with my code. Use code Annie15 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code Annie15 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Support the show and tell them Annie sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. I'm so excited to try the sweat control stuff because I am a petite girl, but Lumi, thank you for coming back into my life. I love you. I love you. I love you. We have been inviting carbs back into our lives for one reason, and one reason only, because Hero Bread has appeared. I did not know it existed. It is so good. It just makes it so you can have your favorite meals. You don't have to destroy the progress you're doing on your diets. They've got bagels, rolls, croissants. I like just the straight up bread. I'm eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches again. Thank you, Hero Bread. It's full of flavor, but it's ultra low in net carbs. It's so, it's good. They have Hawaiian rolls. They're just banging. They have tortillas. It's just a dream. I know I don't mean to even be talking about carbs, but it really, it affects me. It makes me slower when I have too many carbs. And I just carry the rolls on my body. But now I don't got to worry about that anymore. Stop making compromises. You can eat the bread and have your dream body. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code Annie at checkout. That's Annie at HERO.co.
I don't know. I always never know what.
I never know either. I assume the bigger part should go where the crow's feet are. Gonna be.
I love these things. Especially traveling.
And I always bring so many masks.
You ever stay?
Randy, do you ever wear the collagen ones that go overnight and you wake up clear?
Yeah. Well, I was going to bring one of those big masks because they're funny looking, but you have to leave them on for like 4 hours.
They look like coconut meat.
Are we beautiful yet?
While you guys are putting this on, it's also Valentine's Day today.
Oh, wait, can I say the thing that I've been dying to say?
Okay.
Before my producer gets divorced? Oh, no, thank you, Todd, for keeping us on track. So the plane that crashed in Philadelphia, the helicopter in Philadelphia, it got my mall. It got the mall I would go into Philly to meet my little gang member boyfriends at.
Oh my god.
It was where my dad was, my Chinese buffet,
That's so
all my
sad.
slut clothes, where I got all my little like baby slut clothes. Is that crazy? I was like, not my mall. My friend Peggy was like, do you know Peggy O'Leary? She's a comic in Philly, and she was like, I've never been to that mall, but when I heard it, I go, that's Annie's mall.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know how bad it is, but I couldn't believe it.
My mall is gone too, but only because people never shop there. Yes, the mall.
Is that sounds like one that would go out of business?
Yeah.
They were too
Mesa.
confident.
They say Arizona.
They were like, it's going to be a party in here all the time. It's like, you didn't anticipate Amazon, did you?
No, it's gone now, but that was the mall growing up.
We went to the Grove recently, and it was popping.
Yeah, the Grove is cool. The malls in LA are cool.
Outdoor malls rule. Roosevelt Mall was outdoor. Still is.
Where's
It's even
that
more
one?
outdoor.
Is that the Philly one?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Roosevelt Mall. It's right on Roosevelt Boulevard.
Shout out.
Shout out to the Roosevelt Mall, to my girls working at Deb. Sorry I stole from you. Sorry I shoplifted.
You're a vet. I did shoplift that time.
It felt fun.
I remember being doing a lot of coke and being really into sacred geometry. I'd stay up all night
With your friend who makes the paintings?
completely by myself. And
Oh, you're cool. I thought you were a solo coker.
dude, I had a problem and I was a nerd. So it was like a bad mix. But I went to Walmart at like 4 a.m. all coked out to get a compass to do my sacred geometry, and I stole it.
I've never, one of the first times I did coke was like with this chef, this celebrity chef in LA. And I was living in Santa Fe, but I came out to go to this party, and I ended up back with this celebrity chef. And the chefs just loved it. I loved it. And he was just giving me so much coke. And then everyone took, I guess, Tylenol PM to go to bed. And I was like, that seems weird. I don't want to take
That is
medicine
really
on
weird.
top of coke. And so I didn't take any. And I was up and I was so inspired to write poetry. It was so funny. I was like trying to find paper and pen in this guy's that I don't know his house without waking him up. Like, I don't want to go. Like, oh, nobody's done anything to me. This is crazy. I'm getting to platonically sleep here. But I just remember like, I've got to write a poem right now.
I wish you could remember it.
I don't think I found paper. I think I
That's
just
most
searched
of
for it.
Anything I've tried to make when I was on coke was like terrible. Just a lot of words. They don't really lead to anything. But basically, the feeling of it was like, this is it.
Well, because you're going ba 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 ba, because your brain's moving fast, but
Yeah.
who knows what the
I don't do it no more. I think it's gross.
It's nasty. I was offered it recently. I said no.
Good.
There is something fun in 80s about it. Did you see Less Than Zero?
Mm-mm.
It's like a Robert Downey Jr. movie, but it doesn't end well for him. No spoilers, but it doesn't end well for him. There may possibly be a corpse in the back of a convertible. They look over, they go, man, no. He's like, Robert Downey Jr.'s like, they're like, come on, man. He's like, he just falls over.
I think I have to see it.
But it makes Coke
sounds
look bad and good. It makes Coke look bad and good. You see, like the beginning, the glories.
I'm glad I had like my troubled times, but I feel really good now getting my act together.
Yeah, I know. I'm proud of you. You quit drinking.
I did. Well, I stopped for a bit. It's been over 2 months now.
Yeah.
And well, man, do I want to drink?
Really? Why
Yeah.
do you want to drink? Just when you're out?
Like all the time.
Yeah.
But then I wake up the next day and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't.
And what do you do instead?
I think I'm lost. I went from full-on calm to panicked in a matter of seconds. My palms were sweating. I could feel my heart beating outside of my chest. I was scared. All of a sudden, my legs started moving fast and I was running. I didn't even tell them to run. I was so paralyzed with fear that they decided to do that on their own. All of a sudden, my legs started moving fast and I was running. I ran, looking back and forth behind me, and then I was scared that they decided to do that on their own. All of a sudden, my legs started. As my skinny leg jumped up to take another step, my other foot landed sideways on a big rock that was hiding under some leaves. My other foot landed sideways on a big rock on my stomach. I could feel the skin on my knee tighten, and I knew it was skinned. My elbow and arm hurt, and I'm pretty sure I would never be able to eat again because my stomach was so sore from the fall. I lifted my head up, and my elbow and arm hurt, and He was tall, skinny, and all black, and he was standing by a tree 20 feet away. I picked myself up and dusted the dirt and weeds off my face and arms. Normally, if I saw something like that, I would have pissed my pants for real. Something in my head told me not to be afraid. I slowly started to walk closer to the figure who was waving me to come closer. I looked behind me to make sure he was talking to me, and realized I was totally alone. What did it want with me? After about 20 steps, me and the figure were eye to eye. Standing right next to him, I saw how massively tall he was. He must have been 7 or 8 feet. Me and the figure were eye to eye. His face was the shape of a planchette with horns on top of each side of his head. He was. And on top of his head, he must have been 7 or 8
something
feet.
that looked like a small antenna with a weird symbol on top of it.
The shape of his eyes were 2 large, perfect circles that were outlined in darkest black.
The shape of his eyes were 2 large,
perfect. The actual eye part was all white, and it glowed like headlights from a car. His left eye was sunken in a bit, and was oozing this long string of reddish-black mucus blood. It was dripping like a faucet. A drop of blood slowly fell from his eye and splattered me on my brand-new white tennis shoes. My mother is going to kill me. I looked up at him again and noticed he didn't have any nose. The craziest part of him was his creepy-looking teeth. His face was mostly teeth. He barely had any lips, just what looked like hundreds of long, sharp, yellow-stained, pointy teeth. He wore a big black cloak made out of cloth with holes in it. He had super long claws that looked like they had skin and blood stuck underneath the tips. "Hello," I said nervously. "What's your name?" He responded with a deep, gravelly voice. It was a tone that I had never heard before.
"I'm Mr. Nobody."
"Mr. Nobody. That's your name?" "That's not a name. I guess your parents must have thought there were too many Johns in this world." I'm Victoria. Do you want to be my friend?"
"Yes."
Mr. Nobody explained that he had a bad reputation for doing bad things. He said they weren't true at all, and that people were afraid of him and made up stories about him because he looked different. He also asked if I had ever heard of his name before. Of course I didn't. I would have remembered a name like that. He seemed kind of lonely like me, so I invited him to come home with me to play. When we got to the bus stop, the bus had already left. We had no choice but to walk home. He didn't seem to mind. I did most of the talking. Actually, he talked very little. I think he was shy. He was a great listener. I told him all about my horrible day and how mean Misty was to make fun of me. I also warned him about my horrible mom and what a fun sucker she would be. He seemed to be really interested in the stories about my mother and how mean she was. I told him if he was scared of her, I would protect him. When we finally arrived home, I told him to run upstairs to my room. It was the second door on the left. I knew my mom wouldn't approve of him. If the child didn't belong to a country club, they weren't able to play with me. I'm pretty sure Mr. Nobody didn't belong to one. My mother stopped me on the way in the house and asked me how my day was and why I was so late. I told her I missed the bus and made a new friend. Before she could ask me any more questions, I told her I had a lot of homework and ran upstairs to get away. When I got upstairs, Mr. Nobody was nowhere to be found.
"Oh, hey there. Just starting to get interesting, huh? Pardon the interruption, but it appears as though I have an unhappy customer to tend to. Why don't you go on and make yourself at home, and I'll be right back."
Este episodio es presentado por Opill, la primera píldora anticonceptiva diaria de venta libre disponible en los Estados Unidos. Aprobada por la FDA de potencia completa y libre de estrógeno. Además, no necesitas receta médica. Los días en los que necesitabas prescripción médica para la píldora anticonceptiva han terminado. Opill está disponible en línea y en la mayoría de las tiendas. Toma el control de tu salud reproductiva con Opill. Usa el código Birth Control y recibe 25% de descuento en tu primer mes de Opill en opill.com.
Last year, Art the Clown blew up the box office with a Christmas sleigh ride for the ages. And now on Valentine's Day, Art is slashing his way into your home. That's right. On February 14th, Terrifier 3 makes its official streaming debut exclusively on Screambox. Listeners can get 3 months of Screambox for just $2.99 per month by going to terrifier3.com/bloodyfm. That's terrifier3.com/bloodyfm, so you can relive all of Art's bloody antics only on Screambox.
Why, hello there. You've reached the antiquarium. You're currently with a customer. If you wish to leave a message, please do so at the tone. Thank you, and have a great day.
I feel as though I stumbled on something I shouldn't have, something I shouldn't do. But my curiosity has been piqued. I adore this. Great job.
End of messages.
Satanic cults and their various offshoots exist throughout the world. However, a difficulty immediately arises with the word murders, 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 listed as bizarre or ritualistic.
Now, that wasn't so bad, was it? Let's glide back into this nightmare, shall we?
The next day after school, I hurried to get back to the woods to see if Mr. Nobody was there. He was in the same spot I found him in the day before. He said we could help each other out with our problems. He asked me to try and bring Misty to our secret spot in the forest, and that he had a surprise for me. He also warned me not to tell anyone about him. The next day at school, I told Misty that I found a really cute puppy in the woods, and it was stuck, and I needed her help to get it free. My mom had been watching the news last week, and there was this story about some kidnapper who would lure kids to his car, telling them that he found all these puppies that needed help. Misty was dumb, and I knew she would agree to come. She loved animals, especially puppies. When we got to the spot, I couldn't find Mr. Nobody anywhere.
Where's the puppy, Victoria? I don't see any puppy.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it went. It has to be here somewhere. I think I hear it.
Come on, Victoria. We both know there isn't a puppy. I mean, are you this desperate to have friends that you thought you can trick me into coming here? You're such a loser.
As she went on about how pathetic I was, I looked up, and Mr. Nobody was standing right behind her. And she had no idea. Within a flash, he picked her up by the front of her uniform and lifted her up to his big, white eyes. She was so close, I could see Misty's reflection in them. Misty instantly started screaming, with her legs kicking rapidly. She begged me to help her. I thought it was funny, and I started laughing. Same way she laughed at me when I returned to class wet from the bathroom sink. Mr. Nobody slowly tilted his head back, and the antenna on top of his head started to grow, and the emblem on top of it spun. He opened up his mouth wide. Inside his mouth, he had a second mouth, with razor-sharp teeth around the jaw that gaped wide enough to swallow Misty whole. And that's just what he did. I was fascinated by those razor-sharp teeth on his second mouth. I watched them puncture little triangle holes all around Misty's body that slowly leaked her blood as she was going down. It was like an assembly line. When I looked into his white eyes, I could occasionally see Misty's bloody face floating by as if she washed ashore in his body. The left eye started oozing blood again. I didn't think a Band-Aid would fix it, or I would have offered him one for my backpack. Mr. Nobody told me that I would never be alone again, and that we were one. That we could depend on each other, and together, there wasn't anything we couldn't do. I believed in that, and I believed in Mr. Nobody. When we arrived home, we were exhausted. I mean, I know how I feel after I eat Andrea's double-decker tacos, and Mr. Nobody ate Misty. Like a whole person. We stood on the porch, as I explained to him that my mother would be upset if she saw him, and that he should climb the trellis to my room. I told him not to take it personal, She hated everyone, including me. As I pointed to the backyard, the red front door slammed open.
Victoria, what are you doing out there?
Oh man, how am I going to explain this to her?
Who are you talking to? Come inside, I want to show you something.
I can't believe she didn't see Mr. Nobody. I mean, he was standing right next to me talking. Gosh, she's so high on herself she didn't even notice him. I mean, it was for the best. When we got inside, I told Mr. Nobody to go up to my room, and I would be there shortly. I put my backpack down and hung my jacket on the hook on the wall and headed into the kitchen to see what Andrea wanted to show me.
Look, you've been invited to Jenny Harris's birthday party on the lake!
I didn't want to go to Jenny Harris's party, but I knew my mom would make me go. Yeah, I don't want to go. Jenny is mean. They probably meant to send it to someone else.
Gosh, Victoria, you're always so negative. Is it so weird to think that someone might want to be your friend?
I'm not even going to answer her. My mother was convinced that Jenny's intentions were pure. I later found out she invited everyone in the class. Her mom didn't want to exclude anyone. I knew Andrea would make me go no matter what. She always wanted me to be accepted and popular for her own selfish reasons. She wanted a second childhood and was trying to live that through me. And she always made me do things I didn't want to do.
Victoria, what's all this red stuff splattered all over you? It's everywhere.
I told her Jason Brown had been so clumsy and splattered his ketchup packet on me by accident. She told me to put my clothes in the wash immediately so they wouldn't stain. I must have had Misty's blood on me. I didn't realize there was any red on me. Mr. Nobody needs to be more careful. I wasn't going to take the blame for his work. I marched upstairs, put my dirty clothes in the wash, and retreated to my room. Mr. Nobody was gone again. I wonder where he goes at night. The sun kept trying to poke its way through the thick, gray clouds to reflect its light on the docile lake. The sound of children playing echoed through the water and reflected back into my ears. When we arrived at the party, the moms were, of course, talking about the disappearance of Misty Coldwell. How could she be this popular and deaf? I heard one of the moms say that Misty's friends were waiting for her to show up on the walking path, and she never did, and she'd been missing since Tuesday. I'm shocked she never told one of her dumb friends that she was going to meet me. I bet she was too embarrassed to be seen with me. As if my day couldn't get any more annoying, Dustin the dummy came up to me.
Hey, Victoria, you got super close to winning the spelling bee, huh? So why didn't you?
What an idiot. I didn't win because I didn't know how to spell arachibutyrophobia. Dustin shrugged his shoulders and walked away. What I didn't tell Dustin was the fact that I had suspicion that Andrew had cheated. He just had to. I mean, who the hell knows how to spell that? The whole party, all the kids talked about was Misty and how Andrew won the spelling bee and the shiny trophy he got awarded. Nobody even cared that I came in second. I was so angry because I should have won. That trophy should have been mine, and Andrew won by cheating. I looked around and noticed how ridiculous the parental supervision was at this party. All the moms were up the hill drinking wine and gossiping, while the kids were spread out all over the lake with nobody watching. All the kids were taking advantage of the situation and doing whatever they wanted. With this lack of supervision, a kid could really get hurt out here. Damn, here comes Andrew. And is he? No, he can't. Yes, he is. He walked down the hill with a super annoying frumpy rhythm and was holding the trophy he won. I snatched it out of his hands. Let me look at that. It was a bright, shiny gold color with the cutest bee figure at the top. Wow, this thing was heavy. Wellington didn't skimp on the quality with this one. It should have been mine. I took the trophy and aggressively handed it back to him by shoving it in his arms. I would never let him know how bad I wanted it, or how amazing I thought the trophy was. I told him that it looked cheap and they probably got it from Pick and Save. He could tell I was angry.
Victoria, I'm so sorry you didn't win. It was such a great competition. You did so awesome. I mean, you were so close to winning.
Is he making fun of me? Is he bragging? I started to get flushed and turned a tomato color. I asked Andrew to walk down a little further to where the sun was shining through the clouds. Without any hesitation, he walked down to where I was standing by the water. All of a sudden, the sky got dark, like a dark cloud had covered the sun. That dark cloud was Mr. Nobody. I turned around, he and I made eye contact, and within a matter of seconds, Mr. Nobody had taken the trophy from my hands and started to slowly pierce Andrew's skin through his stomach with it. He used the bee's stinger to make the first opening. Once the stinger had made its way through, Mr. Nobody pushed harder, so the whole thing was shoved inside Andrew, and the bee was coming out on the other side of his back. His light blue shirt started to turn an ugly rust color. He was losing blood fast, and his t-shirt started to absorb it like a sponge. I looked at Andrew's face, and he was in pure shock. Blood started slowly dripping out of his mouth. Mr. Nobody kicked the rest of the trophy through Andrew's intestines until the big fat bottom was lodged inside his stomach. That was the first time I saw someone's intestines, and boy did they look gross. Andrew fell to the ground and landed practically in the water. As Andrew floated away to his new home, Mr. Nobody snapped the bee off the top of the trophy and handed it to me. At least he knew I was a winner. Before I knew it, the current from the lake pulled the small body in and washed away the blood-stained dirt on the shore. In the distance, I heard, "Cake time!" I rinsed my hands off with some lake water, and Mr. Nobody and I went up the hill to have some cake. After we sang happy birthday to Jenny, I saw Andrew's mom pacing back and forth, followed by a look of complete panic. She called out Andrew's name frantically. I complained of a stomachache and asked my mother to take me home. She said we should stay and help look for Andrew. I told her that he would turn up. He's probably just playing in the water. I knew they wouldn't find him alive, so I wanted to leave. I told her, "I have a stomachache, and I think I'm going to vomit." Andrea grabbed her keys, and we all got in the car to head home. On the way home, I noticed both Andrew and Misty's bloody heads floating behind Mr. Nobody's eyes. At least they had each other. I wondered what would happen to the two of them. Would they be stuck there forever? I asked Mr. Nobody where he lived and where he went at night. Andrea interrupted me by asking who I was talking to. I told her my friend. She nervously asked, "What friend?" "Mr. Nobody," I said. I thought it was a good idea for me to tell her about him. We were best friends, and he was so helpful.
Mr. Nobody? That's his name?
Yes.
What does Mr. Nobody look like?
He looks like nobody I've ever seen.
And he's in the car right now?
Well, of course he is. He's sitting right next to me. My mom looked super concerned and confused. I heard her make a voice memo to call a child psychologist. When we arrived home, I made sure to hide the piece of the trophy that Mr. Nobody had given to me. I tucked it away under the folded shirts in my dresser drawer. The next morning, Mr. Nobody and I were in the yard having a tea party. My mom swung open the back door, and she was holding the snapped-off bee from the trophy. She seemed angry and disappointed. She had a look on her face that I still, to this day, can't describe. It was a look she had never made before.
Victoria, I was putting away the laundry and I found this bee. It looks a lot like the trophy Andrew wanted, the spelling bee. Is it a piece of his trophy? And what are you doing with it? And is this blood on it?
I couldn't even get a word in. What's with all the questions, I thought?
Did you have something to do with Andrew's disappearance? Start answering me, damn it!
I told her that it wasn't me, that it was Mr. Nobody. I said he was the one who gave me the bee. Then she started talking to herself out loud, but in a quiet, sad whisper. I heard her mention that she needed to call the police. She started sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't want the police to take Mr. Nobody away from me. He was the only one who understood me, and he trusted me. I saw her grab her phone and heard the sound of 3 numbers being dialed. Mr. Nobody looked at me, and I knew what was coming next. I didn't try to stop him. She had this coming for a long time. I watched the antenna from the top of his head grow and extend about 5 feet. The weird symbol on top of the antenna kept spinning repeatedly, catching more speed with each passing second. Like a drill, the emblem and antenna kept spinning and slowly pierced straight through the top of Andrea's perfect head. Clumps of her hair and scalp flying in the air like a washing machine flinging clothes against the drum during the spin cycle. I watched her eyeballs slowly move up till her blue eyes were in the back of her head. Her eyes turned white and glowed. I don't know how deep that antenna went inside of her, or the damage that was done from it. I could only assume it looked like a blender had turned her insides to mush. White foam was coming out of her mouth,